Hello dear friends and welcome to my channel. Dear friends, today we are going to discuss some of the most significant aspects related to higher education and NEP 2020. Well, I am Dr. Tushar Vyas and I am Associate Professor of English in SD Arts and Shah B.R. Commerce College Mansa that is located in Gujarat. Dear friends, in fact, there have been lots of discussions on NEP and NEC has already suggested universities to incorporate the parameters of NEP. Yet, when we think of NEP, certain basic questions do pop up. For example, how is the spirit of NEP? What is the core content of NEP? How the higher educational institutions are going to implement NEP? And dear friends, to answer all such questions in a very simplified manner, or in other words, to decode and to demystify NEP, it could be said that NEP is a fusion and it is a very beautiful fusion. NEP, in fact, is a fusion of the international standards of education, the traditional Indian knowledge system, and new technologies. So it could be happily summarized that NEP 2020 is a fusion of the greatness of the Indian past with the new technologies. NEP is a fusion of the traditional Indian knowledge system with the current trends that are emerging at international level in education. So NEP is not just a replacement nor an addendum of the earlier policy. NEP in fact is a restructuring and recoloring of education system in India. Dear friends, when we think of NEP 2020, we need to take into consideration certain national and international aspects as well. So it was in 2015 that United Nations adopted 17 Sustainable Development Goals, that is SDGs, to end poverty and to save the planet. And dear friends, out of these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the fourth goal is quality education. So mark over here the words, it is not just education but it is quality education. And obviously the Indian government has also adopted these goals including quality education. So the aim of NEP is to form the kind of educational system based on quality and equity in which all students, irrespective of their socio-economic or geographical background, get education. Dear friends, when we go through the document of NEP, two terms emerge as key terms to such an extent that the two terms significantly contribute to the making of the central themes of NEP 2020. So, what are the two terms? Let us try to briefly understand them. The first term that we encounter in the document of NEP is quality. So what is quality? Let us ask a question, and it is in fact a very difficult question because the idea of quality, the understanding of quality, the definition of quality may differ from person to person and from field to field. But so far as academic institutions are concerned, we can say that quality ultimately is something that deals with holistic development of students. So what the students are expected to do after getting enrollment in higher educational institutions? Students must develop holistically. But dear friends, For the holistic development of students, a very good infrastructure is very much necessary on the part of the institution. A number of facilities are very necessary on the part of the institution. Curricular activities, co-curricular activities and extracurricular activities are very much necessary on the part of the institution. And I am happy to share that there are so many institutions in India that are aiming at holistic development of students and are forming strategies for the said purpose. Dear friends, the second significant term that we encounter in the document of NEP is equity. So what is equity and how can we distinguish equity from equality? So equality is a kind of situation in which equal opportunity is provided to all students, but equity actually deals with the fact that each student has different circumstances, each student has different background, and each student must be provided requisite resources for desired outcome. So equity in a sense is an inclusion process. Dear friends, let us discuss now the next point, and that is the vision of NEP 2020. What is the vision of NEP 2020? Why so much exercise in the formation of NEP 2020? If we probe into this matter, then we would come to realize that the vision of NEP 2020 is to instill among learners a deep-rooted pride in being Indian. And dear friends, how can this pride in being Indian be instilled among the students? That is a question, and the simple answer to this question is that this kind of pride can come from the study of Indian culture. This kind of pride can come from the study of Indian social tradition. This kind of pride can come from Indian philosophical treatises. This kind of pride may come from the study of Indian artifacts, monuments, folk tradition, and everything that is connected with the greatness of India. Dear friends, NEP envisions an education system deeply rooted in Indian ethos, for example, Indian culture, Indian epics such as the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, Indian branches of knowledge, Hindu, Jain and Buddhist epistemologies. Dear friends, one of the principal aims of NEP is re-energizing higher education. So NEP aims to end fragmentation of higher education by transforming HEIs into multi-disciplinary universities and colleges. So studying just one subject or a cluster of similar subjects, and that too only theoretically, is not enough. That only aims at, this kind of study only aims at the cognitive domain, and that too at a limited level. So in fact, institutions must develop multidisciplinary approach. And let us remember Ban Bhatt's Kadambari that describes good education as the knowledge of 64 arts dealing with creativity, sciences and vocations. For example, Vadya Vidya, the art of playing musical instruments; Geet Vidya, the art of singing; Nritya Vidya, the art of dancing; Natya Vidya, the theatre art; Indrajal, that is juggling; Suchivar Karma, that is needlework and weaving; Prahelika, that is making and solving riddles; Takshana, that is carpentry; Vastu Vidya, that is engineering; Dhatu Vidya, that is metallurgy; Yantra Matrika, that is mechanics. Dear friends, this kind of multidisciplinary approach is the need of the hour. And besides this, institutions will have the option to run open distance learning and online programs for lifelong learning. Dear friends, in the light of NEP 2020, universities are going to be restructured. So there is going to be a very transformative view on university. So universities will be restructured as research intensive university or teaching intensive university. So let us try to briefly understand these two type of universities. What is research intensive university? So university with research mandates within and across diverse disciplines for faculty and undergraduate and postgraduate students would be considered to be research intensive university. To simplify, research intensive university will be the kind of university in which research is the main activity. And here, research does not just imply academic writing only. Research also applies academia industry tie-ups, collaborations, and very good research outcome that is intended ultimately for nation building. The second kind of university will be teaching intensive university. So teaching intensive university will be the kind of university in which teaching activities play a dominant role. It doesn't mean that here there is no scope for research. Indeed, there is research over here and entrepreneurship too, but the level and the degree of research and entrepreneurship in this kind of university would not be so significant as compared to research intensive university. Dear friends, similarly, there is going to be a restructuring of degree programs as well. For example, 1 year degree program will be considered to be tantamount to certificate program. 2 year degree program will be considered to be tantamount to diploma program. 3 year degree program would be considered to be equivalent to bachelor's degree, and 4 year bachelor's program, 4 year program would be considered to be equivalent to bachelor's program. Similarly, dear friends, there is going to be a change in master's program as well. For example, there would be 2 year master's program and the second year will be devoted to research. But if a student has completed 4 year bachelor's program, then there would be only 1 year master's program to be completed by such students. There is going to be academic bank credit with multiple entries and exits that is going to provide flexibility to the students in the coming times. Dear friends, India will be promoted as a global study destination, strengthening its role as Vishwa Guru. Dear friends, if we just study the history of India, then we will find that Nalanda and Takshashila have already been identified as global study destination, and there have been international enrollments in these universities from Japan, South Korea, Afghanistan, and from other parts of the world. Dear friends, in today's world, high performing Indian universities will be encouraged to set up campus globally. So this is something new, that internationalization of Indian education is going to be a significant aspect in the coming times. Dear friends, the 12th UGC plan estimated that only less than 5% of the Indian workforce received vocational education. This number in USA is 52%. In Germany, it is 75%. And in South Korea, it is as good as 96%. So, from this comparative study, it could be argued that Indian universities and colleges are seriously lacking in vocational education. Somehow in India, vocational education is perceived to be inferior to the mainstream education. So, NEP intends to integrate vocational education to the mainstream education. For example, for the students who are pursuing BCom and BA, why should there not be a course in tourism? Why should there not be a vocational education in event management, in fashion designing, in catering management, pottery, beauty culture, and many more? Dear friends, now let us think of the implementation part. So, National Committee for Integration of Vocational Education, that is NCIVE, National Skills Qualifications Framework, IITs, polytechnics, local industry could be sought for help by the mainstream academic institutions. Dear friends, NEP emphasizes quality academic research, and this is a very significant point. Now, when we think of the kind of research that is conducted in India, then we would find that there is abundance of research, but quality is missing or quality is lacking. Somehow, the Western models of research have been so much dominant. Somehow, the Western theories of research have been so much dominant. So, we need to conduct the kind of research that is decolonized in its nature. So, National Research Foundation will work for quality research problems, proposals, and grants. Industry academia tie-ups is going to be strengthened, and promotion of concrete and original research for nation building will be strengthened. Dear friends, NEP takes into consideration a very significant aspect that is connected with India as a nation, and that is promotion of Indian languages, arts, and culture. So there would be significant emphasis on, on significance and preservation of Indian languages. UNESCO has already identified 197 Indian languages as endangered. So there will be an attempt to save the languages that are endangered. Trained language experts will be employed to save these languages. Emphasis on Indian literatures, traditions, artifacts, and monuments will be made. Dear friends, NEP also takes into consideration digital infrastructure and lays stress on it. So, online courses are going to be promoted, self-paced courses are going to be promoted, webinars already during COVID-19 situations, we have felt that we needed webinars instead of seminars, and there have been a webinar culture that has taken place. E-content development will be emphasized, and virtual schools and colleges will be started. Dear friends, what does NEP guide to institutions? How would be the institutional direction? Let me summarize certain points. So, identifying and fostering capabilities of student, that is the duty and that is the role of the institution. So, the institution is expected to identify and to foster capabilities of each student, because each student is endowed with different kind of capabilities. Dear friend, flexibility in learning is going to be emphasized. There will be no watertight compartmentalization among streams, subjects, and activities. There would be emphasis on conceptual learning, then rote learning. There would be emphasis on creative and critical thinking, then rote learning. Spirit of service and respect for public property will be strengthened. Multiculturalism will be promoted. Life skills such as communication, cooperation, teamwork, and resilience will be promoted. There will be focus on outstanding research work, and there will be rootedness in Indian culture and knowledge system. Dear friends, thank you so much.